What the fucking hell? I could have fucking sworn. Alright, there we go. Alright, hey guys, what's up? It's your friend Daniel Hutchins. We're back again. So what are we talking about? We're talking about Shadow the Hedgehog. Yes, we're talking about Shadow the Hedgehog. Okay, what do we know about Shadow the Hedgehog in Sonic the Hedgehog 3? Sonic the Hedgehog 3, okay? The odds again are pretty good if you're already a huge fan of Sonic the Hedgehog. You're wondering about what's the big deal of Keanu Reeves casting on Shadow the Hedgehog on Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Now, again, it's supposed to be a big part of the film. Sega has yet to go about what it's all about. First appeared in 2001's Sonic Adventure 2, Shadow the Hedgehog has since become a franchise arguably second most popular character, and in a matter of time has made his live-action debut, considering it took him a long time to get there, after his predecessor friend, Sonic. Now, again, reaction again both by Tails and Knuckles from Sonic Hedgehog 2. There's a whole bevy of reasons to be more excited for Shadow. Shadow is here. As much as we might say, on the surface, Shadow is not your typical evil version of Sonic. He's an anti-hero. He debuted in 2001 on the Dreamcast game system for Sonic Adventure 2, meaning he can very well be the really good rival of Sonic. He also had split into two halves. He's got hero side and dark side. Again, he's got a hero side and a dark side, making him the perfect rival to Sonic, and the only rival to Sonic, arguably because he is an anti-hero. So he goes against everything. While the second part of it, again, the first part of the movie follows with Sonic and his friends, Tails and Knuckles. The second part of the movie happens where they go find Dr. Eggman, who we know as Dr. Robotnik, who also works alongside with his old arch nemesis, Shadow. Now, of course, you guys know, Sega's initial marketing and games played up to hype that between Sonic and Shadow, there's one good Angel Hedgehog and one Dark Hedgehog. And again, like we said, Sonic Adventure 2, 2001, Sega Dreamcast, again, its first debut. Shadow was created 50 years after by Dr. Gerald Robotnik, also aka Dr. Eggman's grandfather. He is born in a space station high above Earth called the Space Colony Ark. Robotnik family research in immortality, effort to find a way to cure his granddaughter Maria for a sickness she had. Ultimate life form, Shadow. Shadow is capable of withstanding any disease and injury, and Robotnik had tried desperately to transfer Shadow over to Maria. However, the process failed when Shadow and Maria became close friends. They came close in the Space Colony Ark, and again, looked down on Earth imagining what it would be like for Maria to finally be well again. But the catch is, Dr. Robotnik, aka Dr. Eggman, himself has founded the project of United Federation of Sonic franchise, and the version is the United States, and again has money and weapons to do it, because he's Dr. Robotnik. And so, efforts to saturate the benefactor demand, Robotnik had created two immortal beings, Shadow, and then a giant reptile prototype known as Bio-Lizard. Unlike Shadow, Bio-Lizard is a loose cannon. He's uncontrollable and violent. Bio-Lizard also came too dangerous to control by anyone. United Federation also sent a squad to clean him up. GUN, which is acronym for Guardian Unit of Nations, soldiers had arrived from the Space Colony Ark, and they've arrested Robotnik, killed the researchers, and evacuated civilians. Civilians escaped for one, except Maria. She unfortunately found herself caught in the fire, and she died as a valiant hero. While also different media presented Maria's death in various different ways of origin, consensus again of Shadow's origin is very interesting because coming from a land where you saw slaughter, sending out him off to Earth the cost of her own life. With her dying breath, Maria asked Shadow to bring me back hope to humanity. But unfortunately, Shadow doesn't get his chance. Driven by the loss of Maria, who's like a sister to him. Now, Robotnik continues to work under Gunn, again, close watch, again, beginning to plan his revenge. Years and years after he couldn't save Maria, then he's like he put the whole world in pay for the price. Robotnik then brainwashes Shadow to forget his promise he made to Maria. Instead, he implants a memory chip in the back of his head. It makes him sound like he wants to avenge the death of Maria. And then Shadow is placed under homeostasis, which means he's frozen in time. Half a century later, Eggman then wakes up Shadow, and he says, "Shadow, wake up! Shadow, wake up! Bring me all 7 Chaos Emeralds to the Space Colony Ark at once." And then, under the auspicity, the Shadow then has again used the frightened people of Earth to submit to Eggman's rule, or Robotnik's rule, and then truth again to Shadow's plan. Most nefarious it is, to find all 7 of the Chaos Emeralds, and put the station back in collision course on Earth, dooming all of humanity in destruction. Shadow's plan comes to fruition, but in the last moment, he remembers Maria's actual dying words, as she says, "Join the heroes, bid to stop the Ark descent, use the Chaos Emeralds, defeat Bio-Lizard, and sacrifice his life to symbolize Ark." Sonic again and his allies, Knuckles and Tails, then again, mourn for Shadow's death, but they celebrate the fact that he's a hero who is able to grant, again, Maria's dying wish. Sega then planned to bring Shadow back as a one-and-done anti-hero, again, giving him the ultimate redemption arc. But fans so often typically overlook at it and say, oh, character refused to let him go. In 2003, the game where we had Sonic Heroes, Shadow made a triumphant, awesome, most legendary return. And as unclear as it says, the same Shadow, but with an android imitation. This point forward, Sega began building off of Shadow, as like, oh yeah, many published pieces of Shadow, and media and games in Sega, have came ups and downs in Shadow's character arc, but Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Most of the story delved around the character of initial induction to a heartfelt relationship with Maria, as Maria's dying words, "Save the Ark!" Alright, so what kind of abilities does Shadow have? Well, sure, Sonic the Hedgehog can run fast. Shadow? Oh yeah, he's real fast. But again, the magic behind the backstory, bro. The most epic origin of all time. Sega's games haven't always lived up to consistency, but Shadow's powers have represented that really good. He certainly had unique skill sets and dwarfs Sonic's comparison. Sonic's equal in speed, strength, physical attributes. Shadow's most iconic power is the ability to wield all 7 Chaos Emeralds in order to bend time and space. Most beings in the Sonic universe can't even harness that power, and 7 Chaos Emeralds. Shadow's scientifically designed biology has allowed him to draw nearly infinite power sources, enable him to teleport across space and time, instantaneously, making Sonic's speed positively pedestrian in comparison. It also makes him slow, makes Sonic feel slow, and then brings time to absolute stop, just like how Flash did Flashpoint. He made everything come to a stop, and then allows him to launch in Launchpad into a series of unblockable attacks. This is again from Sonic Hedgehog 3. Again, the series again, based on a movie. Now, outside of being able to control time, Shadow can also use Chaos Emeralds to manifest direct energy blows, which means Shadow can effectively launch Dragon Ball Z level of energy shooting from his hands impact an opponent's blow to considerable damage. And the most prominent power of all, he has a homing missile, like a chaos spear. Which means it's like sharp as a freaking spear, bro. Now, last but certainly not least, Shadow can evolve into a super form, which, like the Chaos Emeralds, imbue him with the power to fly, render him to near invincible, and then grant him enough power to destroy planets. This form is incredibly temporary, but again powerful enough to make Shadow the most godlike being of all Sonic world, and all of Sonic's universe. Why is Shadow the Hedgehog one of Sonic's most important characters? Well, we just explained it, if you were paying attention. With his tragic, morally complicated backstory and his origin, he then again not only has the most incredible power in the Sonic universe, he's pretty easy to figure out when you love Shadow so much as you did Sonic. Again, character design and personality. Compared to the rather muted nature of Rio's rest of Sonic's allies, he's enough to make Shadow the most excellent proverbial character to have in the sandbox of Sonic's universe. The great news is Sonic the Hedgehog 3 appears to know that all of us are sticking close to Shadow and his origin, and we're actually going to veer into a little bit of it. Sega later then took his character right off from the ground and built him right back up from the ground up, man. Oh yeah. And then Shadow then first teased in Sonic Hedgehog 2 in the post-credit, again, where he was basically being born. And then I was like, oh yeah, franchise run back similar story to where Knuckles began those movies in Nemesis, and then went alongside to fight Dr. Robotnik till the end. But that doesn't seem to be the case for Shadow. Recent release again for Sonic Hedgehog 3, the official trailer from Paramount, suggests that around Shadow isn't working for Robotnik. Instead, he's up with Sonic, teams up with his arch nemesis to stop Shadow's misguided attempts to destroy the world, which again is a nice twist to his formula, if you think about it. His character makes even half the impact the video game series does. You can expect a Shadow Hedgehog spin-off movie and a TV show in the future.